Óðsmál research and publications supported by the Ministry of Culture and Education. Vitki, the wise one, says here whatever comes to mind. Skræða 34, guided bird's eye view. Take a look at the culture vegetation on the heath. Freyjukettir, norræn menning. Men who are not literate on the symbolic language found in our cultural heritage should become literate. To believe in the letter is lack of understanding, illiteracy in the deeper meaning of literacy. For them, these Óðsmál for parents are composed. Those of you who already have gotten the understanding and nísist niður often might tell others all about the allegory and the symbolic language, and the necessity of nísa niður to understand the inherent truth. Not only intellectually, but to live the knowledge in one's own skin. Do research in our own consciousness. Litla kjafturávölva, little talkative-völva. The shrine of Rameshvara, Ram Ísvara, the longship, Íslendingur. Perhaps Iceland, is Ísvara land. Nothing to do with ice, some say. And there are other suggestions. Israel, Jesus, as we are the peoples who moved. Books, Bergman Forlag, First Moses book, Israel Folket to the islands in the north, Benjamin, Iceland. Lots of words and names from our Irish part, Gaelic. See Þorvaldur Friðriksson and Elín Eysteinsdóttir. My theory is Ísarn land, as men came to make iron. Ice, Ísarn, from our iron-rich stones. For sure, men brought with them great culture. Where did they come from? They are claimed to be goðum líkir, God-like. And second question, what was the origin of their culture? See Thor Heyerdahl. This original culture is known to be many thousands of years old, still going strong. Amazing correlation is there between Sanskrit and Norse mythology, names and words. Of course this goes for all the languages derived from Sanskrit, but nothing like here. These words still live here in spoken language. See Christian Andreas Holmboe, his works, and Óðsmál skræða number 29. Some are certain about where from Æsir came to Europe, as names of places indicate. We see that fylgði þeim friður hvar þeir fóru lönd, peace prevailed in lands where they travelled. For sure also a great cultural heritage. Fornir siður bears the mark of being ancient, forn, Puran, forn kvæði, Purna Katja. The fundamental features of siður is akin to the science of Veda. Veda is uncreated sounds, hljóð, which enlightened men understand, see and hear. The knowledge of our laws of nature is concerned with the beginning of our universe. In Ved, the knowledge is pure. Sanskrit has been a living language for thousands of years. Maharishi, this is a title, means the great sage, enlightened man who teaches, has systemized all the Veda and Vedic literature, places them in their due wholeness. Veda are 4, then the 36 Veda literature. Everywhere the wholeness is to be found in it. Rishi Devata Chandas Samhita. Correlate to our Odin Vilivieri, Gab, also known in modern physics. Brahman is Ginnungagab, Shiva Vishnu Brahma, Trinity in Brahman. In Surya Siddhanta says about our universe, which comes from the space-time foam that is like a boiling cauldron, that Brahma lives for 100 Brahma years. Each his years is 360 days, each day of Brahma is Kalpa. The day of Brahma is 1,000 cycles named Chaturyuga, 4 yuga. One such 4 yuga contains 4 cycles, Krita Yuga, Satyuga, Treta Yuga, Dvapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga said to be 432,000 man years. Dvapara Yuga, twice 432,000 man years. Treta Yuga, thrice 432,000 man years. Satyuga 4 times 432,000 man years. Chaturyuga, 4 yuga, is then 4,320,000 man years. These 1,000 Chaturyuga, or 4,320,000,000 man years, are divided into 14 Manvantara. As we know, these numbers are also found in our heritage. 216 are Einherjar, all that to be found in books by Einar Pálsson. Man is in the same image as is Brahman, as only Brahman is. All is him. Also our Gungnis body, which we make, is Brahman. Darwin was good, his theory is cool, but it didn't go into man's spiritual evolution. Not all men are intelligent, scholars and the learned ones are sometimes no good. An Icelandic bishop said, Veda is only rubbish, everyone knows that. Formerly profound concepts have nowadays gotten superficial meaning only. The understanding lost, shallow all worldly words are used, are on the sphere of thoughts and feelings like saved by the Saviour and have found the truth. This is truly what we live for, but it is not superficial exclamations that count. As we do not know, most of us, what we live for here on earth, we get attracted to all that glows, including words and institutions, decorate ourselves with simulations and pseudo-gold. How many translations are there of the Bhagavad Gita containing no understanding? Some flowery words are used, but the meaning is completely misunderstood. Moksha, ahimsa. Some might claim they understand, believe they understand, but it is not so. Some claim to be saved by going from one habit or hobby to another, and that new one can become fanatical. Moksha has a much deeper meaning than declarations, lifestyle, or plans. To be no longer in the bonds of matter is not fixed by belief. Belief can't be fatally binding when it's not connected to consciousness, on the level of thoughts and desires, on the level of feelings and hopes. As he who does not transcend, is not nourished, is like a withered branch. Ahimsa is to really see that there is nothing but Ginugagab, therefore we would not hurt. All is I. Moksha is when we are pure consciousness only, see that our world is Gunir. Scoop for real, do not reject our world. Superficial thoughts and passion are of this world. Avoid self-deception. As we start by digging down, so that our house will not be blown away by the wind, as we draw the bow in the reverse when we are going to shoot the arrow forwards, so we are drawn to ourselves from the worlds of thoughts when we are going to reload the batteries. Þorgeir Ljósvetningagoði is really a saint, as Catholics suggested to make him, as he saved us from massacre. A choice? Yes, we had a choice. Be baptized or killed. We lived and could preserve our spiritual cultural heritage. We added Jesus and the new God to our pantheon. A compromise. In Sweden, the olden folks claim Jesus to be angry when there are thunders and lightnings. Thor and his sky electricity becoming Jesus up there, angry. The verbs to blóta and ragna are said to mean call the devil, whom we never took in. Vidkar, the wise heathen men, were always able to have the better of him by their skills. Poor little devil was never taken seriously here up north. Folklore mocked him in all ways, and these amusing stories could not be laid, so they were changed in the new version. Powerful priests now could cope with him. From a French paper, Artist's Imagination. Spari ég eigi góð geia, grey þykir mér freyja. Æmun annað tvekja Óðinn grey eða freyja. Libellus verse by Son of Skeggi is a góð gá, offensive towards the gods. That man had shunned his own heritage, had put on a label that he was sure to benefit from when dealing with authorities. But I was amazed to hear an old Icelandic lady chant a long, long poem with a beautiful stemma tune containing this verse. Sankti Maria gaf mér sauð, Holy Mary gave me a ram, datt svo niður steindauð, then fell down dead. Þá kom hún Freyja, along came Freyja. Hún kann ekki að deyja, she cannot die. Weird, after centuries of ban, Freyja is still here, ever living, chanted about in this way in darkness of winter. Maria, the good Guð's móðir, mother of God, simply dead, no big deal. Did anyone know that Freyja is the dynamics of creation, does not die so easily? Ever greater expanding power, Gideon, the goddess, Þristin, Þrungva, unfathomable ever-expanding dynamism. Anyway, our great heritage lived. Truth cannot die. Those who bore it from generation to generation during the ages might not have understood. Perhaps the symbolic language, not understood, saved it. Gangleri, ganga lahari, wave of knowledge, wisdom, tends to hide in disguises. Odin bears many names, each one correlating to the message of the myth or poem. We can see how the meaningful names carry, in a way, the meaning of the story. The poems do not hide the fact that Odin is often hidden. That is a part of the plot. Names indicate the hidden message. Men saw funny stories and remarkable poems which were not considered to be dangerous to the new authorities. Just allow men to ridicule this naive stuff. How could anyone believe this? Underdeveloped, primitive religion, man. But I thought it would be safer to change names of days, so that men would not every day mention the devilish olden gods and goddesses. Some few years ago, the National Theatre of Iceland put on stage a piece in which God sent his penis to earth because he saw a girl there. This was not about the theocratic God and Holy Mary, that young replica, as that new replica is bought for lots of money as holy. It was the ancient heathen one that still can be mocked and ridiculed. We are told that Jesus had to go through this around year 30, Anno Domini Romani era. Weird nation who owns this national theatre on a low porno stage of consciousness. Perhaps heathens are too careless, too peaceful, or simply lazy bones. Why make fuss? No big deal. We do not threat acts of terrorism for some libel. It annoyed Caesar that the Druids fought bravely, not afraid of death, as they knew that this their lifespan was one of millions. They would be reborn. They had to fight the Roman invasion, defend their families, culture, and possessions. Our big creation story is really Big Bang funny. Funny universe birth stories are many. They can be interpreted in terms of science. The funniest one can be explained in other contexts than the quest of a theocracy, which has its own version, and at the same time bans all others as devilish. Like the six-day creation 6,000 years ago. Was it 23rd October, 4,000 years before Christianity, Roman era, at 9 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time? Creation of our universe is explained by modern science and in ancient Vedic science. Dr. John Hageling's teachings of space-time geometry is enchanting. Every burn should have the opportunity to listen to it. How the power of the foam, Freya, as a boiling cauldron, emits bubbles, out of whom some universes come into being, many every second. Some do not last long. The same story is in Ved. To explain Gilnungagap, we should advise research in consciousness. Using words to explain, we are surely heading into trouble. Our education does not allow for more than the worldly, shallow sphere of thought. Some, among them some scientists, have put on a label, atheist, skeptic, or some of the other belief or non-belief, which counts for the same here. Yet many understand science of consciousness, research in consciousness, TM. That is because transcending goes beyond labels. Easily all men can find the basis of all, because we know in here. No belief or disbelief, simply science that all men grasp when they have been told. Greater and more true than man's inventions like religions and institutions, all these labels. Some thrive on disputes. They should define concepts before the debate, for example the term God with a capital G. Yoga, yoga, union in the profound sense. Union of individual consciousness and universal consciousness, which is one. Suits all men, should be practiced by all men, regardless of labels. We can explain everything that we want to understand. Sun rises and sets. Earth rotates on her axis, her surface speedily carrying us to east. Earth around sun. Earth a ball, not a pancake. Mandala, mundul, mundilfari. Words of heathens for axis long, long ago. One says sunrise, another says we are being rushed towards east. No big deal. One and another agree on daylight, even in rain and fog. Theocratic men claim all Siðir and their profound theosophy to be rivals to their labels. They fight all assumed rivals for souls and money. They also fight each other. Then, who can explain that only true God concept? Labels, money, systems of ideas, and lots of words about them. In the first commandment of some, we learn that there are other gods. All the other should not be, they are, but not allowed, banned. This is not our culture. This was threat imposed upon us. Øystein Kjellman writes a good book, Den forna Seden. Valkyrie Forlag Göteborg corrects history and invented lies and wrongs. So-called evolved religions are devices for dominance, wolf in sheepskin. Evolved should mean better, more true, more perfect, but they are not. Understanding of consciousness is dismissed as it's not useful for dominance. Ginnungagap is known by many names all over the globe. Rígur teaches us about spiritual evolution, not labels. Rígur is not a racist, does not flatter for anyone. Rígur is basically telling us to be who we are. He assures us of our very right place. We are born to our skuld, who we accept in this our lifespan. Labels here the last 1,000 years. Arya, einherjar. Heathens, some call some pure. Atheists, some call some pure. Churchians, some call some pure. Beautiful early Irish Christians, some call some pure, some call some pure. By Jarl, Karl, Þræll, Rígur means all men. Note, Arya means an excellent man. The word einherji might be from that. Max Müller invented the falsified history about the invasion that never was. The British were exploiting the riches of India. They had to break down the culture to have their own missionary work. These forgeries are still around. Some Western Indologists might lose their job if the true story becomes known. Missionaries are still using the divide and rule method, having men fight for labels among themselves. Watch out for strategy, imprinting, lies and forgeries. They are found all over. All men, regardless of tax, evolve from ignorance to their purity. Each man sees in his siður or religion what his stage of evolution allows for. Interpretatum Christianum is when imprinting has brainwashed us. Special, strict institutional interpretations. An enlightened Mohammedan, I know, says, Allah is within, do you not find it? Matthias was a good doctor in Reykjavik 1 century ago. A Spanish trawler came to the harbor as one fisherman got ill. Matthias could cure him with some good medicine. The man's name was Jesus, a common name in Spain. Matthias said, now it was I who cured Jesus. Heathen men have lived for thousands of years. Science of consciousness is ancient. We do not know when the knowledge began, but for sure it is the most profound. Living generations are their forefathers' descendants, rationally. Or we are they and they are we in next lifespans. New all-worldly tax changes nothing whatsoever concerning consciousness. Our poor little world needs some nurturing, getting a bit dry, poor thing. Fenrir grows and thrives on our alienation. Þjóðrerir shakes us up. We lazy bones are getting rather blind in the darkness. Þjóðrerir can be called Weltanschauung or philosophy or something else. Anyway, good to have him around, and you. Rerir is hrærir, stirring up. Theocracies have excited some, blunted others, brainwashed many. Theocracies have been exposed. Men then go to atheism as opposed to theocratic institutions. These men only know monogod or no god. Rather petty what we have been taught. We are waking up to the truth right now. I don't think good games in the garage is all we live for now. We shall know the world to be mythia, a copy, schauspiel, not really tangible. Beautiful fireworks show from Freya the beautiful. We are about to find out why we are born into our beautiful world. About time. Welcome to Lokfaralundurbarri, the way to enlightenment. See Skírnismál. Live Glaðheimar in waking, sleeping and dreaming. To be in the vicinity of Ginnungagap is joy. Lit is a treeless grove in the wood. God forseti, literally president for seti. For forseti is Sleipnir, Makara, Capricorn, 10th house of the zodiac. Nature rejoices each time some man becomes an einherji. The whole of nature welcomes enlightened men. We still claim the sun to dance on Easter morning as Jesus resurrects. When we gain pure sight on reality by transcending sowas regularly, we see that Ginnungagap has always been, we were, before we got born into a body, as it has always been, will always be. We are eternity. We now see existence and its purpose, joy of Glaðheimar, supreme happiness, lasting happiness, which the crude man knows not. Enlightened we live Glaðheimar in wake and sleep, have reached Valhöll. We are the gap, the divine, have always been, nothing else is. Say there is not a system, only the understanding of each one. The word is derived from Svataha, Siddhihi, Shuddha, Svastaha, Swasti, Su, Asti, well-being, happiness, luck, prosperity. Svastaha, standing in self, the perfect. Say there is probably not a religion, as we might feel some systems in that. Institutional feeling, domination feeling, other men's ideas and views. Say there is one thing, but say there, plural, of nations is another, culture and customs. Siður is the foundation of siðir, culture, and evolves with the laws of nature. The laws of nature are on a profound level of existence. definitely not the same as man-made law. The knowledge contained in Norse Edda can be so beautifully practical in everyday life of man. Tarati shokam atmavid. He who lives in unity, knows unity, overcomes all sorrow. Chandogya Upanishad. Yoga chitta vritti nirodha. In the true yoga, the union of consciousness, mind is most peaceful, and it can be measured by EEG. Any man can learn the TM technique, and he can see how the brainwaves become coherent in the transcendence. TM nourishes easily learned, simple, proven, and said to be the best of friends. Pratyavayona vidyate, Bhagavad Gita. There is no obstacle. The way inwards is the easiest one to go. No effort lost, and no effort needed, but the power we gain is unlimited. We become pure. The way inwards from me to me is natural to mind. Mind seeks joy and happiness, and enjoys the rest. A joke, please smile. The rest and the rest. Peace and all that follows. Nothing will be feared. Svalpam apyasya dharmasya trayatim hatto bahyat. At once we reach Gladheimar, which means that we soar over all duality in the world. But dvityateva bhayam bhavati. Duality makes uncertainty, which in turn creates fear. It is the dance of Triguna, Þursamegir þrír, that can drive man crazy. In Gladheimar there is no duality, only endless width. Gladheimar are the widest, gladdest, most peaceful, most powerful, and always right. Good to work from there, only the perfection comes from there. Men should wake up from what they ignorantly call waking stage. Uttisthata, jagrata, tapya, varan, nibodaha, from Kada Upanishad. Rise, stand up, be among the wise, understand the truth, the great wisdom. Upanishad means to sit down at the feet of the teacher. Imbibe his knowledge, learn to nýsa niður, learn the technique to sowast. Find ek gefin sjálfu mér, I given to myself. Yodhagara tamritya kamayante. Him who is awake in the sense of having awakened to see truth. The finest hljóð, sounds of creation find, they find him now. Hljóð heimdallar finds us, when we are pure enough to be found. The sound of gjallarhorn of Heimdallur in Himinbjörg. We know life on earth to be enjoying Gungnir, but do we know the effects on us from all these vibrations? We need not live in the little joys of Gungnir alone. We can't be without the three Guna for a while. Gradually, we have a beneficial comparison to the little joys. In Norse Edda, we find a wealth of wisdom when we understand. Revere the role of the mother. Let's understand what the great goddess is, Gideon Mikla. Bring soul, goddess sun, goddess of enlightenment, into life. Ire should be immersed into. Enjoying the ripples on the mind, the world, is not enough for man. We learn a technique to dive deep. We provoke Gungnir on the surface when we plunge. The ripples become a wave which nourishes the whole world. We hereby give a precious gift. We need to be stirred up, awakened. Þjóðrerir shakes us, Óðrerir awakens us. Marvelously useful and relevant science from our forefathers, handy and practical for the man in the world today. Our own cultural heritage is the best for us. We should profoundly understand it and apply it. Do not go for the imported ones. The laws of nature in our land are in accord with our heritage. That is living Swadharma, our own, not Paradharma, that of others. Norse Edda, our ancient tradition, belongs to the settlers who came to an uninhabited land. We have a theory on someone being a goði, which goes, the settlers had no wise elderly who were the head of the family. They had cut the umbilical cord. They made the missing ancestor so. Someone wise who can settle disputes will now be called goði, and he has a goðorð. The land is 36 goðorð. Each goði takes 2 men to think, becomes 108. No chance, but calculated, ancient numbers, our forefathers' knowledge. 108 is diameter of our moon, and the distance to our moon from Earth, diameter of sun, and distance from Earth to sun. There are 108 marbles to remember the verses, Gurubet 109th, then returned. The land is divided into 4 quarters, 3 thing in each. 12 equals 12, like the zodiac signs. In each 36 judges, 36 times 12 equals 432. 216 are einherjar. Be careful not to confuse Íslendinga sögurnar, the Icelandic sagas, which are literature, heathenry only made as settings for them, With heathenry, fornri siður, poems and myths, our ancient spiritual heritage, not literature, orally conveyed for ages, later written, most likely in runes. See Östen Kjellman, den forna setin, Valkyrjuförlag, Sweden. Purana is forn, Sanatana Dharma, the eternal truth. What time has not devastated has proven to be worthy. Empires come and go, but truth never goes. Neither has it come, only is. Ægir is symbolic language of heathen myths, the abyss that human mind can know only by plunging in. When we are not thinking human thoughts, but the universal orderliness around Ægir gets infused into us, comes in handy in daily life. While we dwell at Ægir, we know that here is the origin of thought. Here is the widest and gladdest sphere of human awareness, transcendental. Here we are on the fourth stage of consciousness, mind peaceful. When we have plunged into Ægir, man's consciousness is everywhere, without time and space, not now a defined entity, but the unboundedness of the origin of all. Time and space are in our world of thoughts. In Ginnungagap only as a possibility. Óðsmál by Gothrun, book 1996, points out to us how we are easily making up things we then take for real. Drawing on a flat paper, as we know, that makes us see the 3D. Time is a similar fake, actually a dimension. These little men have east, west, north, south, but not up nor down. We move the stick up and down, which becomes change from one thing to another, is, was. Change tells us that all cannot be now. Up down becomes time, as we do not see the whole picture. Superstring or Ginnungagap has 10 dimensions, ungnis possibilities. Do we have any problem understanding that? Is there something that we do not grasp? Is there something that we make up in our mind? We might then, in our ignorance, do something of which we do not see the results. Yes, we stupidly invent flaws all the time. Nothing is worse than drómi and læðingur. Waste a lifespan, stungin svefnforni, stung by thorn of sleep. A wasted lifespan, no nourishment from our Ginnungagap. Human nervous system, our Sleipnir, is most precious, and we should know that we can find the Glaðheimar within, to evolve spiritually. This is the only purpose of living. We are not being born to have parents and a job. We do that too, only for fun. Why doesn't anyone tell us why we have chosen to be born? We are not going to school to get a job. Schools fail us if they do not teach the purpose of life. The subjects in schools are only 1/3 part of the education. What is missing? We now know how to evolve spiritually, transcend to find knowledge. Luckily, CBE schools are now all over. We curve within to fetch our knowledge. Each one has to learn to leiða sjálfan sig sjálfur, lead oneself himself. We are born and we live to evolve to perfection. This is what Siddhartha is telling us, Siddhartha, perfection as a goal. We need enlightened mothers who nourish our parents and teach them all about the purpose of life. The knowledge lives in our ancient and ever-young tradition. We shall go deep into it to understand the abyss. There are endlessly many ways to interpret the layers of understanding contained in myths and poems. We should soar high on the wings of symbolic language to find the sky-high understanding of the priceless knowledge. Soon all parents will understand the unboundedness within their own consciousness. Highly evolved parents are being born now. They will understand Ginnungagap, no dark corners any longer. Now we know where from our thoughts come. Our forefathers' science of consciousness is really easy to grasp once we have the key to the real meaning. Any parent can understand everything, as all is in the perfect context of the whole. All this is a wonder, Acharyavat. Ginnungagap is a wonderful wonder. There is nothing that we cannot understand. Now we shall understand that all is Ginnungagap and nothing else is. The wonders of reality are hard to grasp for the crude man. For the pure ones it is sheer beauty. We know Mimir, even if our worldly eyes do not see him. Mystics of reality, some say, we see the world, but we see not who we are. I am the great Svinnur, intelligence, Ginnungagap. We are Ginnungagap. Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Vishwam. This is intelligence, the great Svinnur, who is everywhere, always. We live it. Svinnur is in us, we are it. What we do not see with our eyes can be calculated. All is in essence formless, only hljóð heimdallar, nama rúpa. Knowledge of fire is a necessity for every parent. Experience of transcending, not the least now in the speed and alienation. Some claim to be living life, but do not know what that is. We shall borrow a fjadurhammer feathergeist from Freya. We men are Brísingamenn Freyju, the brightest jewel on earth. She gladly lends us her fjadurhammer. Even if it were úr gulli eða silfri, made of gold or silver, we can borrow it or even own it. Freya knows that we are not asking her to marry Þrymur. That would mean to reverse or stop our spiritual evolution, a disaster. Freya knows that we are going to understand the weeds on the heath. We might not have noticed them. The plants on the moor have been here for a long, long time. We and our forefathers have walked over the heath and seen them here. All sleeps during winter, wakes up in spring. The fragrance of wee flowers has always delighted our senses. We take this for granted. All this is part of us. Blóðberg og blágresi, beitilling og einir, sóley og smári, silfraður mosi og reynir. We, who are also our forefathers, sleep in Helja, awaken to next lifespan. Winter, summer, spring, autumn, conception, birth, lifespan, Helja, morning, day, evening, night, váli, baldur, víðar, höður. Freyja and Brísingamenn. Óðinn vili við ginnungagap Ymir, decor in the ceiling of a heathen hof, walk in, walk out. Now we give our myths a kiss of love, and we wake up from the long sleep of the sleeping beauty. Actually, we didn't see anything new on our walk in the heath. It is only that we see it differently now. We have always known all this. Perhaps it is the fact about truth that we do not notice it. It is so given, and so naturally here. We are it. The eye doesn't see it. It is said that the eye can see everything but itself. We do not see who we are in truth. We are prone to think about many irrelevant things. Mimir sometimes gets out of sight. When we have flown over the moor in our imagination and landed anew, we are reborn to the wisdom. We have now opened our eyes to eternity, and we shall never again forget to live truth. We have seen it, and now we understand that we are it. Skessan, Mother Nature, in the mountain has charmed us, not eaten us. World of men is now for us a place to seek and understand. We pay respect. We are now Meili, the mighty one, Óðins son. We see Vorfrúakirkju and Notre Dame to be the shrines of Lady Freyja of all men. Life is for finding boundless bliss, everlasting happiness, the joy of glaðheimar of consciousness, in mjaðar flæði, flow of meat, Óðins.